it was this person's fault, and it was that person's fault, and that person's fault. You get to a certain number of those, and you got to realize, well, what's the one common denominator? It's me. So perhaps, KD, all these situations aren't working because of the way you're going about it.
Well, listen, if that were the case, I wouldn't want him on the team anymore. I don't necessarily think it's unworkable. But yeah, at a certain point, we've had that conversation a bunch of times through the years with regard to Kevin Durant just being the type that's always searching. Is he always searching? I don't know, man. It worked while he was here. You can say that it ended bad, but it worked. And it was great. He enjoyed a lot of it. I don't know, man. The whole he's trying to separate himself from that, yeah, maybe. Find it a little bit hard to believe.
Well, he's done it. He has separated himself from it. And in the 5 years he's been gone, not much has really gone his way.
You know what? I wonder. I'd love to ask Kevin this question. I don't know if he'd answer it. But what do you think he would say if you asked him, hey, what's been the favorite part of your career? What's been your favorite stop? When did you feel most like yourself? What do you think he would say?
Man, probably his time in Seattle when he was just a rook and, playing for a rabid fan base and just able to go out there and just ball and not worry about any of the other BS.
It might have been the year, if you was going to spotlight one year, I might argue it feels like it was the year in Oklahoma City where they went to the finals and lost to Miami. That was a really good basketball team. Yep. Kevin was unbelievable. They came so damn close. He defended after the season everything that they had done and was just like, this is not a lost season. We're really building something special. I wonder if that might have been it, and then things, as they often do, when the names get big and the money gets big and the pressure gets big and it's not going well, then things start to fall apart a little bit, break up a little bit. And so onward he goes. And then the second he left Oklahoma City, it is at minimum felt like he's in a constant state of searching for something else.
Right. He's been searching for basketball nirvana. And, you had it in Golden State, sort of, but there was the expectation and the burden of everyone thinking that you should win. And you did the first 2 years, and then he got hurt. And then it was it. And that third year was so tumultuous with Draymond, and he wasn't seeing eye to eye with Steve Kerr. The way it ended, to me, would, in part, prevent him from wanting to come back to this.
Want to mention to our usual YouTube audience, we had a little YouTube crash there for a second, but we back. So we still got a good solid 20, 25 minutes left in the show. If you want to hop back into YouTube, please do and join us there. 888-957-9570 is the number. How about Rich in Fremont? Rich, what are you doing?
Sitting up here looking at red lights and license places.
That happens around this time.
Yep. So, I got to listen to what you guys were saying about Kevin Durant. And, one of the things I see from this whole thing with him is that, he probably should just figure out that at the end of the day, based on everything that he's done, that, you're playing in the National Basketball Association, okay? And basketball is a team sport, last I heard, that's what it is. And so that being said, he should be at an age where he should figure out that, hey, you know what? One of the reasons why you did well in Golden State because you were on a good team and you contributed in a major way. And that's why you guys won titles. You left there, went to teams that weren't good teams, okay? And even your contributions, great as you are, you guys couldn't get it done. So the answer is this. He needs to consider the fact that, hey, you should be at an age right now where you should figure out that, hey, guess what? You don't have to necessarily be the main ingredient, okay? But what you can do is go to a place that's going to allow you to play team basketball. Now, I don't know if that's Golden State anymore, but the only thing I am saying, he needs to focus on playing team basketball and stop thinking that he has to be the one to get it done so that the team can win. Thanks, guys.
Rich, thank you. Appreciate it. I do think this is a question, and you can't ask them. You'd never get a straight answer. And far be it for me to understand what goes on inside the mind of a true basketball great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what it takes to become that, to be able to handle those bright lights, but you wonder if there's even just a tick of awareness from any of these guys. Throw LeBron in too, to where they're like, yeah, it's time for a little bit more of a complimentary role. It's time for this to look, we can still win. I can even still be the one, but it needs to be more of a 1A or a lesser one.
Right.
Jordan time is over. Jordan time's over. I just don't know if those brains can work that way, though.
When you're so wired your whole basketball life that you are the man and everything goes through you and you're unguardable and you're unstoppable and you're an all-star every year that you play and you're top 10 in the MVP every year and you're one of the greatest players of all time. And even at 35 years old, Kevin Durant's going to be all NBA, second team, third team, whatever.
Yep.
And so it's hard to downshift into that mode.
We're sponsored by the Alameda County Probation Department. Plenty more time for your calls. We'll set up Grandy. We'll do all of that. Coming up next, Willard and Dibbs.
Want a career with purpose, great pay, outstanding benefits, and a promising future? The Alameda County Probation Department.
I don't know what I would have been, man. I've just been football my whole life since I was 6 years old. I've been putting everything into it. I'm sticking to plan A, man. I'm sticking to plan A. I'm manifesting this. You can't try to switch me up, man. I'm about to be a great 49er. Come on.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
They calling him Slick Rick. That's Ricky Pearsall. Niners' first-round draft pick was on the roast today. And a little birdie tells me that you might hear extra Pearsall in the best of the game with Mark Grandy coming up in 14 minutes.
Okay.
Is that an accurate statement, Grandy?
That's accurate.
Okay. So there's going to be some Pearsall, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nice.
What do you think his role is this year? This year? Just this year. What's his role?
I think that he's going to be the slot receiver, and he's also going to be the primary backup for Debo when Debo gets injured, if Debo gets injured. But I look at the way the Niners like to run their offense, and I'm going to hit you with a 21 personnel before the show's over.
There we go. 2
receivers. You don't use the slot a lot. Last year, Jawan Jennings, third down in Jawan, he only played a third of the snaps. And that includes the times when Debo was unavailable due to injury. So you didn't even use Jawan that much. I do think that Pearsall is going to have more of an opportunity to be in there and replace Debo and Brandon Ayuk in certain packages. I think they're going to use him probably about as much as Jawan last year.
Set an over-under on yardage.
For Ricky Pearsall?
Yeah.
Receiving yards?
For the year.
I'll put it at 450. 450 yards receiving.
Okay. 450 yards receiving in a 17-game schedule.
That's 30 yards a game. 30 yards a game would be 510. So you're looking at about 25 yards a game, which seems paltry.
Yeah, but God, the ball in the 49er offense, you got a lot of places to put it. So
yeah, you do.
There's no question that there are going to be multiple no-catch games for Ricky this year, I feel.
Jawan last year had 265 yards receiving.
Wow.
He played in 13 games, 13 of the 17.
Boy, because he felt like he had an impact.
19 catches.
And he only had 265 yards?
19 catches.
That can't be real. Seriously?
I'm looking at it right here.
How many did he have in the playoffs? Because he had some big catches in the playoffs.
He did. I would bet, and I'm going to open it up here, but he probably had 5 catches in the playoffs.
What's he got? You got it? What do you have?
I got it.
What do you have?
Playoffs this year, he had 10 catches in the playoffs. So 5 against Green Bay, 1 against Detroit, 4 in the bowl.
So he had 10 catches in the playoffs when he only had 19 for the year?
Yeah. I'm looking at the log right here.
Wow.
022 inactive.
That's wild.
125 DNP. 101302.
Okay. There it is.
Jawan Jennings.
Apparently they didn't have third down very often.
Right. Third and Jawan.
All right.
So 450 is probably a little hot.
Maybe. I mean, listen, he could be really good. Debo or Brandon could get hurt. I hope not. But the journey of an NFL season, I mean, this is why the Super Bowl will go down as such a painful experience.
Yeah.
Which is that you got to sell under a lucky star to be as healthy as they were. There's always injuries, but that was about as healthy as you're going to get. And
Hey, Willard, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Before we let everybody run for the day, I found something a little bit interesting on Twitter. James Jones, the GM of the Suns, spoke after the governor, Matt Ishbia.
Yep.
And he had this to say where he was, I'll let you listen, but we missed the very beginning of it. This comes from Dwayne Rankin on Twitter.
Okay.
A constant focus for the Suns and James Jones is to figure out how to maximize Kevin Durant. He says that no one's done it yet. Here's a little 40 seconds from his presser earlier today.
Figure out how to maximize Kevin Durant. No one's done it yet. I believe we'll be the first team to do it because we can maximize him, we can maximize our entire roster. We're a better team. But that's not an issue. I think Kevin had a phenomenal season this year offensively. And when he's playing at the highest level, he makes us a really, really good team, and we're damn near unbeatable. And you saw that at times this year. But like every great player, what we may view as being like awesome, Kevin thinks isn't good enough because he wants to be great. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. And so the moment he becomes satisfied with the way he's playing, I think that'll be the moment he'll tell you that it's probably time to think about something different.
Wow. They are kissing his butt.
Big time.
Oh, my goodness. You could have done that whole soundbite in 2 words. I'm sorry.
Totally.
Sorry, Kevin.
Sorry we were so bad.
Please don't request a trade.
Right.
Please don't request. Please. Oh, shoot, he already did. All right. I mean, that was just a big bouquet of flowers.
The end was also interesting, right? Where he said something about where once he reaches his potential in a certain destination, then he's going to want out. So he's pretty much saying that we haven't gotten to that point yet. So Kevin, there's still a lot of ground to cover here in Phoenix.
Yeah, that honestly sounded like begging. You don't do that unless you already know that Kevin's angry. That is a press conference you hold where you're not talking to the media or the fans. He was talking directly to Kevin.
Right.
Kevin, we did not maximize you. Boy, we screwed up. We're going to fire the coach. But please don't. We're going to fire the coach. Don't. If you could just we're going to fire the coach. Please, if you just hang on for a second.
We're going to fire the coach.
We're going to fire the coach.
Right.
Yeah, that's what that sounded like.
The reason why they didn't maximize Kevin Durant was because the coach is basically what he's saying. And so he gone. They were 26-18, and they proceeded to win 23 of their last 48. They were sub 500 over the last 48 games of the year. They were a complete puzzle all year, but they were rolling early, and then they got everybody back, and then they stunk. Sorry, Frank. Maybe you can go coach the Lakers again. They're going to need a coach.
Does share something that was written by Monty Poole that goes alongside what we've already heard him say a couple times today. And for those of you just joining us, it's this.
If you're the Warriors, you would be in on Kevin. And the question is whether Kevin would want to come back because he has said, I don't really regret anything I've done. Didn't regret going to the Warriors. Didn't regret leaving the Warriors. Didn't regret going to Brooklyn. Don't know if he regrets leaving Brooklyn, but apparently not because he doesn't. I don't do regrets. I just do what I do, and whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. I've even seen that KD might go back to OKC. Wow, that would be a serious turn. But yeah, if KD is on the market, the Warriors are shopping.
Dubs Talk Podcast. Money also writes, Durant and Curry will reunite in July with Team USA. Steve Kerr's the head coach. Assuming no movement in the interim, they'll have almost 6 weeks to engage in conversation and reminiscence. Adding that Warriors Governor Joe Lacob's commitment to retiring Durant's number 35 jersey is an indicator that he could, quote, personally lay the red carpet for KD's return. Final quote, a KD Warriors reunion is not as far-fetched as it might seem.
Yeah, it's not as far-fetched if Phoenix decides that they are going to move off him, and based on that last sound clip we played, they don't sound like that they're willing to or excited about the idea of not having Kevin Durant in Phoenix.
No, they don't want to, but they're also begging for him to not ask.
Right.
I mean, you don't need to say all of that stuff. Honestly, that wasn't even just like that. You can tell when someone's giving you the stock answer. Well, Kevin Durant is one of the best players in the world.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. The fact that he started that right out there with we didn't maximize Kevin speaks directly to the Shams report from 2 days ago that Kevin was incredibly unhappy with how we used him.
Right.
There you go.
They didn't use him right. And by they mean he. And by he, they mean Frank Vogel. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be, man, I'd be surprised if he lasted to this time tomorrow.
Oh, wow. That's quite a statement.
You got to move quick.
It's May 1st.
Yes, but if your star player is already out there shamming it up and leaking to Shams how he's not happy, and you already have responded with we didn't maximize it.
Yeah.
What do they do in the NFL? It's called Black Monday.
Yeah.
You play on Sunday, and the next day you start firing people.
Yeah, but they've already had their Monday. They had their Tuesday and their Wednesday also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this thing keeps spinning out of control. Now you got a couple of yahoos in San Francisco talking about KD.
Darvin Ham still employed.
Yeah.
At this hour.
For now.
All right, here comes Grandy, Ricky Pearsall, and much more. And it's all brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full service banking, no compromises. Full hour, best of the game with Grandy. Appreciate you so much today. Lots of fun. All of you, Twitch, YouTube, the callers, the texters, all of it. You want to do it again tomorrow?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's do it again tomorrow. For Dibs, for Grandy, for Lucas, I'm Mark. Shoot your shot. It's all you got.
My friends at Pacific Coast Termite have treated almost 50,000 commercial businesses and homes, including mine, and they can help you too. Joe Stark.
get to this in just a second because we'll game you up. We're the guys to talk to when it comes to the culture, to the traditions, the history, the lingo here in the Bay Area. So we'll get to that. All the great taco spots, burrito spots. We'll get to all that. But so far, how's it been in the Bay Area, man? What do you think so far?
It's been really good. I went out there for a day, enjoyed what it's like to be a 49er for a day, and it was really good, man. I went out there with my mom and dad, and we just got the experience what it was like. Everybody was enjoying it, meeting all the coaches, seeing the area. But yeah, it was a really good time.
So what's the plan now that the draft stuff is over? You've gone through the process. You got to Jersey. You've seen the facilities. You've toured Levi Stadium. What is the plan for the offseason now? When do you get back to work to get ready for the season?
Yeah, man. We report back on the 9th, and then we go into rookie camp. So right now it's just about staying in shape, staying in football shape, running routes, making sure we're up to par when we get in.
All right, I want to talk about Pops because it sounds like Pops was a player. All right, I've seen some articles where he even called into Florida Gator radio stations saying that he didn't want nobody breaking his records in terms of his career yardage, and you shattered those things. Has Dad been your coach since you were a kid?
Oh yeah, for sure. The coaching started as soon as I was able to catch a football. So yeah, the coaching started young, man, and he still claims that he was quicker than me when he was playing. So we go back and forth on that.
Oh my God. What was he like as a player? Like the way he describes it, what was he like as a player?
Kind of just like what I said, a quick player, explosive playmaker. He actually punt return too as well. Told me he was All-American in that. I have yet to see film. I really want to see the film. I've seen a few pictures, but I've yet to see the film.
You must need a VCR player, Ricky, right?
Come on, dog.
VCR player, real tape.
Guys like that.
Maybe that's why I haven't seen the film.
There you go, Ricky. Do you even know what a VCR is? No, I'm kidding, man. But no, seriously, I'm not trying to hit on Pops like that.
Like most fathers that are sports dads, like they can be hard on their son. How hard is he on you in terms of your relationship after the game? Is he texting you? Is he calling you? Because I used to call my dad after almost every game.
Oh, yeah, no, he's definitely my biggest critic for sure. I wish I could screenshot the conversations we have and send it to you guys, but they're like the longest paragraphs you'll ever see in your life. You're scrolling for a solid 5 minutes.
You're looking at the blue bubbles just popping up like, all right, Dad, press it.
As soon as I see his contact name pop up, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Here we go.
So have you hung out with Shanahan? Because, Shanahan's a big rap guy. I don't know. Did he sit you down and play the new Kendrick Lamar dissing Drake? Or
well, that just came out yesterday, Shasky.
You never know.
Maybe Shanahan got the leak.
Yeah.
No, he did it. It was a business-like conversation. We was getting straight to business, but we're going to sit down. We're going to talk about that as well when I get in, man. We're going to enjoy it for sure.
Who's your favorite artist?
My favorite artist?
Yeah.
A Bay Area artist?
No, just in general.
You just got here. We'll school you on Bay Area. You got to love E40. You got to love Matt Trey.
Yeah.
That's kind of, you got to know the lingo there.
You want,
right.
Man. And it could be any genre, too.
Man, I mostly listen to hip-hop and rap for sure. My favorite artist? That's tough, man. I listen to a lot of different people, but Drake's up there for me for sure, even though he's beefing right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of people on my playlist. I got Lil Baby in there. I got Rilo. I got a little bit of Young Boy. I got a big mix because I was living in Arizona and moved to Florida. Got some Florida stuff in my playlist, and now I'm about to get some Bay Area stuff in my playlist.
Let's go.
We're talking to Ricky Pearsall here, first round pick out of the University of Florida. Now, Ricky, I don't want you to hang up the phone on me, so bear with me. I am a big-time Florida State fan.
Oh, shut up.
I am. I watched that game this past year.
I might be gone.
Yeah, no, don't hang up on me, Ricky, because I respect the Gators. I respect the Swamp. And we were talking about yesterday the best venues to visit because the Giants are playing at Fenway Park. And we had our top 5, and we left college football alone. Like, I think the Rose Bowl is one of the best venues ever. I was at that Bama-Michigan game in the playoff, but I've always wanted to go to the Swamp. I've been watching those games since I was a kid, whether it's Florida State, Florida, whether it's Florida, LSU,
at Georgia.
the Hedges at Georgia. You were there, the SEC. So what was it like running out that tunnel playing at the Swamp? Because on the video game, it feels like it's deafening. I can't imagine playing there.
No, it's definitely a crazy experience, man. It's definitely a crazy experience. It's by far my favorite place to play, man. Like the little slogan goes, only Gators make it out alive, man. And that thing is really true, man. Swamp goes crazy. Everybody's going wild. They put on the insane environment. We got insane fans, that are diehard about their Gators. So, man, it's definitely a one-of-one experience for sure.
What is it like playing in the SEC? Because it does feel just different. We grew up in Pac-12 country. It doesn't feel
not the same.
It's not the same. It feels like the SEC hits different. Yeah. What was the difference when you moved on from Arizona State? Because the Pac-12 is a very competitive conference. I love the Pac-12. I got love for it always.
but when you go into the SEC, is it really that different?
Yeah, man. I think really two things pop in my mind when I think about the SEC. And it's you're playing guys each and every week, man. That's really what it is. You're playing guys each and every week. You got to prepare the same each and every week. There's no, games where you're going to slack off. You're playing top opponents each week. And then the second thing is just the history and the traditions that lie in the SEC, man, are just super, super deep. So that's why I think everybody is so diehard about it out there, man. It's just the history and traditions are just super deep, and everybody goes crazy for it.
If I took Florida off the board, okay, that way you don't get in trouble with the Florida people.
Yeah.
As you're walking out onto the tunnel into the field, what's the best of all the experiences that you had in college?
In Florida, and this is all Florida. Right?
Yeah, you can't pick Florida.
You can't pick the swamp.
It's okay.
If you want to say, if you want to say Doak Campbell Stadium, you can say that. It's okay.
Stop the cap.
I had to make sure because I'm all Florida people, man. I got their back. So, I don't know. I think my first year at Florida, the one where I looked around and I was like, okay, yeah, this is SEC football. We played Tennessee at Tennessee.
Oh.
So I think. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one for sure. I think we were both ranked at the time, and it was the first SEC game of the season, so it was packed out. It was loud, and the ground was shaking.
It's always that third week in September, Florida, Tennessee.
It's the best.
Yeah, it is
It's
great.
the best. So as Jerry Rice reached out to you, I mean, that he's the GOAT. He's kind of like the ambassador of the 49ers. Anybody that comes to the Niners at some point, and it's early, you've only been here like less than a week, like he reaches out. Has he reached out to you yet?
He has not reached out to me. I know his son very well, though.
Oh, really?
Brennan Rice, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
That is cool. So growing up in Arizona, you're catching passes from your father. Who's the wide receiver you modeled your game after? Because you watching the film and we're getting to know you. You're getting to know this market. I'm like, damn, this guy lines up everywhere. Jet sweeps, slot, outside. Guys catching passes, one-handed, taking hits. Who's the guy you modeled your game after, Ricky?
Yeah, man. It's tough, man. I watched a lot of different receivers, man. A lot of different receivers intrigued me growing up. I just I just respect greatness and success at that level. So I was watching a lot of different receivers and really still do. Because I think that's like, where you can separate yourself is how much you can steal from dudes that are doing it at a high level. So I honestly continue to still watch other guys. But growing up, obviously I was an Arizona kid. So the first thing that comes out of my mind is Larry Fitzgerald.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the first one that comes to my mind. And
Quan Bolden, maybe? And Quan Bolden was there for a little bit. Tough guy.
Yeah, he's up there. He's up there for me. And then obviously the Odell era too.
Oh yeah.
The Odell era was crazy. So that was somebody I watched. But now I'm watching guys like Justin Jefferson, Devontae, Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk. There we go.
Oh yeah, your boy.
Yep.
I love me some Ayuk.
What's the thing about your game that maybe, like Brian Baldinger's our guy. He's the NFL expert. He puts out all these videos, and everybody compares everybody to all these legends and whatnot. And it's very flattering. But what's the element of your game that you don't think the analysts and the people who break it down understand well enough?
Yeah, man, just my understanding of route running understanding. I think I really understand where to be at. I'm very consistent and disciplined. The spots that I'm at, the quarterback will never be guessing where I'm at. It's going to be a consistent spot. And then just my fluidity, man, in the route running, nothing throws me off. Obviously, especially in defenses now, there's a lot of disguise coverages and moving pieces. So being able to run with your routes with your eyes up and seeing moving pieces and understand on the go why everything's happening so fast, I think I do a good job of that. And then just how detailed I am in my route running and, the quality of it and how serious I take this on and off the field, really, man. So I think that's what separates me.
Talking the first round pick, Ricky Pearsall, your newest member of the San Francisco 49ers at the University of Florida and Arizona State, of course, an Arizona boy. We'll get to that in just a second. But speaking of Baldy, Ricky, I'm going to play this cut for you on what Baldy said about how you will maybe fit in this offense under Kyle Shanahan.
I think you'll see it over the course of the year, and then by next year, one guy is going to be here and one guy isn't going to be here. Right now, it should be highly competitive practices right now, because I think you're going to see the talent of Pearsall. I think everybody's going to see it. And so this question of how they move them around, can they find a space for all of them? It's just not going to be tolerant that guys are going to be crying for the ball. They're not getting touches. I mean, it's just the ball's going to get spread around and it's going to go through McCaffrey. That's not going to change. So I'm anxious to see what that roster looks like Labor Day weekend. And if everybody that's been here is going to still be here.
Well, Ball D's high on you. He's been clipping videos of you, and he said as you're high level. A lot of people love you here and how you fit in this offense. How do you envision yourself in this offense? And some of the things from watching afar, watching Shanahan's offense, when you're in college, do you ever envision yourself in that Niner uniform saying, wow, I could really thrive in that offense under Kyle Shanahan?
No, for sure, definitely. And I think my versatility is going to help me. You know what I mean? I think being able to play different positions and move me around is going to help me, give me different opportunities. And obviously, Coach Shanahan likes to put a lot of guys in motions across the field, create matchups, create different looks. So, you know, I feel like I'll be a guy that can do that.
All right, let's do some rapid fire.
Hold on. Before we get to I got to ask him real quick about. I got to ask him real quick about Purdy in college. Because Purdy was like Mr. Arizona.
He hung like 70 on him.
Yeah, he hung 70 on you. But what did you know about? When did you first hear about Brock Purdy? And did you follow Brock Purdy throughout his college career when he was at Iowa State? What was it like playing against him in high school? Yeah. What were the reports about him in high school?
Yeah, man, that's when I first learned about Purdy. Was actually in high school. Man, he was balling that year. He was putting a lot of stats up, and obviously we had him up in our schedule, so I had to know who he was, and when we played him, I definitely found out who he was. But he was definitely under recruited for the offers that he was given. Man, he should have been definitely a high recruit from the things he was putting up, and I think he was Gatorade Player of the Year in Arizona for that year. So he was balling, and then obviously he did his thing in college, went over there, and I think he just surprised a lot of people that didn't think Purdy was going to do that at that level, but. Being a guy that played against him and got to see it, I saw the talent and expected it from him. So,
no, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Also, obviously, real quick before we go rapid fire, because we got a lot of rapid fire.
Yeah, we got a lot of.
We saw your tweet about the Bay Area.
Yeah,
we're like, we have to get Ricky on our show. Yeah. We know the city inside out. We grew up in the city.
Fifth generation, baby.
Yeah, no doubt. He's fifth generation. My family's been here since the 60s, or excuse me, the 50s. So, going up against Renardo Green. It's Tatum Bethune at Florida State. I know these guys are here. You know about the Florida State-Florida rivalry. It's one of the sickest rivalries in all of college football. What do you remember about going one-on-one against Renardo Green? Because you'll probably see a lot of them in practice.
Yeah, for sure. He's a very talented player, man. I don't think we matched up against each other too many times, to be honest. But he's a really talented player, man. He's very physical. I think that's a really good pickup for us, man. I really do. I think he's going to benefit the defense. He's going to bring that physicality. He's going to bring that 49ers defense mentality to him with him. So it's going to be really good.
All right, let's go rapid fire. Chasky's waiting on this one,
I don't want you to think too much on these. Just give us whatever's on the top of your head so we could bang through some of these. PS5 or Xbox?
PS5.
There you go. What's the game you're playing right now on
Call
PS5?
of Duty, Madden, what are you doing?
I'm playing the show, actually.
Wow, baseball fan. Wow.
Okay, now I got to ask.
Wow.
Okay, so are you making yourself as a player? You rode to the show or the Diamond Dynasty?
Diamond Dynasty, yeah.
Ooh, who's your favorite player?
My favorite player?
Yeah.
Nick Castellanos.
What?
Wow, Nick Castellanos. Wow, I like that deep cut right there.
I know him personally.
All right, there you go. I'm not mad at that. I wanted Castellanos on the Giants a couple years ago. A lot of people said you're crazy, Devontae. The guy got power, man. I want Castellanos.
All right, so, Debo and Trent, they come out with the boombox, right? Every single week. If you were able to pick the song to come out with the boombox to fire up the team, what song are you picking?
Yeah. I don't know. I saw the video of them doing Super Gremlin. I want to run it back. I want to be a part of that.
I like that.
We want to see the swag.
Yeah, I like that too. What's your favorite cuisine? If you could choose all the cuisines, you get a meal tonight for your birthday. It's a birthday dinner. We're sitting down to eat. What does it look like?
Yeah, man. I think my favorite type of food is honestly Mediterranean food. I think that's my favorite type of food.
Wow. Well, Bay Area has plenty of options. Yeah. I'm not the biggest Mediterranean food, but are you into burritos? Are you into pasta?
Come on.
For sure. I grew up in Arizona. I'm definitely
So you're in the Bay Area. You're the burrito capital of the world.
La Vix, La Taqueria. La Taqueria here in the Mission's my personal favorite, but you ask anybody who's local, they're going to have 15 different answers.
No doubt.
We like our Dungeness crab out here. So do you eat seafood or no?
No, I definitely eat seafood. I eat seafood for real. I seafood and I eat it.
I love that.
Dude, I love that.
All right, what's the better nickname?
We love it, Ricky.
If fans are going to come up to you, do you like Yak Harlow or Slick Rick?
I see both. I've never heard Yak Harlow. That is different.
You like that one?
Just came out.
Hey, I like that
Somebody
one.
started saying Yak Harlow. I said first class. This guy may be first class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know if I could be Yak Harlow, man. I think I got to have my own juice. I can't be named after another person.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. So, Sopranos, okay, or Real Housewives?
I don't. Wait, what are those? Are those shows?
Yeah, television shows.
You gotta figure Ricky just got out of college, man.
You don't watch TV?
Hey, no, Ricky.
I don't really watch TV.
Yeah,
Okay, Star Wars, Marvel. Like, do you like any? Do you like any franchises? You like Dune? Come on, man.
I'm gonna go Marvel. I'm gonna go Marvel over Star Wars for sure.
Thank you. Hey,
Okay,
Ricky,
who's your guy in
stock is
Marvel?
going up in my book.
Yeah,
I'm
who's
not
your
a big
guy?
Star Wars guy either. But no, Ricky, The Sopranos came out in the late 90s. I mean, you got to stall him out here.
Dog, mafia movies.
He's
I'm
studying the
currently trying to catch up on the old movies that I missed growing up.
What is your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie of all time?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Probably Remember the Titans, because that was like some OG movie that I watched growing up as a young kid and just being like super motivated by the movie. And obviously I was playing youth football, and it was just one of those legendary movies, man.
I guess what would be your favorite genre of movies?
Ooh,
would it be comedy?
Yeah.
Would it be gangster?
Genre.
Yeah. Would it be mafia related? Because I love me some mob movies. I love me The Godfathers and Goodfellas, Casino.
Yeah. I like comedies. I like action movies. You know, you could throw some scary movies in there every now and then, so I get my villain mode. But yeah, those are my favorite movies.
All right. So I'm looking at this Niner roster. I mean, these guys got some superstars.
Yeah.
Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Debo, Ayuk, Purdy, CMC, Kittle. Who's the guy you want to meet like the most? Just to like find out what that guy's really like.
Man, all of them, they all sound really good to me, man. I think they put me in
That's a great answer.
I think they put me in a really good spot in the locker room, too, because I'm next to all those guys. So it'd be really good to develop those relationships, man, and just get to work together and, just get better every day.
You brought up Camp Ricky. Will you do any work with Brock Purdy in the offseason to build that rapport with Brock?
Yeah.
Oh, 1,000%. I might bug him.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
If you weren't playing football, what would you be pursuing? Obviously, football has been your obsession since you were a kid. What other things interest you in life? Like, would you have been a plumber or a teacher or a police officer? Like, seriously.
I don't know what I would have been, man. I've just been football my whole life since I was 6 years old. I've been putting everything into it. I'm sticking to plan A, man. I'm sticking to plan A. I'm manifesting this.
I love that.
No, you can't try to switch me up, man. I'm about to be a great 49er. Come on.
There you go, Ricky. Let's go. I love that. All right. And I love the tweet that you said. I'm all about representing.
Yes.
Because it sounds like it. You're representing Florida. You're representing Arizona. Now, you talked about things you must know, traditions, history, culture, lingo. I'll say this.
Start it off.
You never say San Fran. Never, ever say San Fran.
But Frisco is
don't
acceptable.
Don't say Nation either. I messed that one up already.
Oh, Niner Nation?
I'm not really.
I messed that one already.
You can say Niner Empire, but I'm gonna stall you out with that one.
Frisco's good though. Let me tell you, we are two Frisco natives. My dad, he passed away, but his era, they didn't like Frisco because it's the older genre. Our era, Frisco's totally fine.
All right.
Yeah, you can go with that.
You got to visit the Alcatraz. You got to do the Fisherman's Wharf. You got to eat the Dungeness crab out there.
Make sure you wear a coat.
Wear a coat. It gets a little cheap. And that's the one thing about San Francisco. Maybe not so much down there in Santa Clara, San Jose, but you come up to the city, it could be 90 degrees at 3 o'clock.
It's fast.
Always bring a jacket, no matter what.
And
get a
don't leave anything in your car.
Yeah, don't leave anything in your car either.
You get whacked.
Don't want to do that.
Those nights get cold?
What?
They get cold, and if you park on the street, you may have a broken window when you come back.
Yeah, they're going to bip you. So never leave anything in the car. It sucks. It's a state thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
And then look, burritos. All right. So because you're obviously from Arizona, well, give me what your burrito order is. Because Sam and Spinoni were talking about this morning. What's your go-to?
Man, like I told you earlier, man, I eat anything, so I'm switching it up. My order probably every other time I go, man. I like eating new food. I like going to new spots and eating new food. That's kind of like one of my hobbies, man. If you're asking, actually, let me go back to that question. What would I be doing? I'd be traveling and eating new food every day.
I like that.
That is an answer.
That's my guy. That is an answer.
That is an answer.
See, he would be eating every day, but he's in great shape.
Yep.
We can eat every day, Shask. If you see us, we got to watch our portions, man. We got that dad bod
I'm thinking
going on.
about the sandwich I'm going to have from Little Luca's. As somebody texted in right now in South City, it's a hole-in-the-wall spot. They got the garlic pesto. Yep. Let me tell you, it is delicious.
It is delicious.
Oh, my God. Ricky, are you excited to get going here with the Niners?
Oh, no. I'm more than excited, man. I'm antsy. I'm ready to go.
Real quick, the last one before we let you go.
Yeah.
You're wearing number 14, correct?
Yeah, that's what they got me in right now for camp.
Is that the number of choice, or obviously you were number one in Florida?
It's Pete Rose, bro.
Right. He's number 14,
guy.
Pete Rose. There you go. Would you look to switch that number?
They gave me the number. That's what they assigned me to for camp. So you gonna rock out with it. You're gonna make it look good.
We can't wait to see you.
What are the cleats gonna be?
That number got no aura, but I'm gonna put some aura in.
Thank you.
You're right.
I like that a lot. What cleats? We going Adidas? We going Nike? Are you a Jordans guy? What's the deal with the shoe wear?
Yeah, no, I definitely wear mostly Nike cleats, Jordan cleats. Those are the cleats I like to wear, but I can really rock out in any cleats, man. They throw me some Adidas cleats, I'll get busy in them.
Let's go. I love it already. Ricky Pearsall here on the Morning Roast. Hey, Ricky, we can't wait to meet you at training camp. We can't wait to see you get suited up and play in this offense. We love the film at Florida. We loved what you did at Arizona State. Herm Edwards spoke highly about you. Brian Baldinger. Everybody we talk to say this guy's going to be a player for the 49ers, so we can't wait to see it. Ricky, thanks so much for spending about 20 minutes with us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys having me and having this conversation, man. Have fun.
You too, bro.
Ricky Pearsall here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game.
That was Ricky Pearsall, Niners rookie wide receiver out of Florida, the 31st overall pick in last week's NFL draft. A lot of fun with Bonte and Shasky on the Morning Roast earlier today. Ricky Pearsall was a ton of fun. How about that? He was asked what his career would be. What does he like to do if he wasn't a football player? What would he see himself doing? And he was like, I don't know. Football player, that's what I've done my whole life. I'm going to be an Niner. Great. Come on, let's go. The confidence just oozing out of Ricky Pearsall. And that was a really good interview done again by Bonte and Shasky on the Morning Roast earlier today. All right, that was our break from basketball talk. We will take a break here on Best of the Game on 95.7 The Game. And when we come back, we will get back into basketball. So much talk around off-season NBA drama and potentially veteran star movement. What happens with Kevin Durant and the Suns after they did not even win a single game in the postseason this year? Does Kevin Durant want out? If he does want out, will the Suns be willing to trade him? And if they are, would the Warriors give the Suns a call? We have an NBA expert, salary cap expert on Willard and Dibs earlier today to break it all down. That's coming up on the other side. Is it even possible? Can the Warriors make the money, make the financials work? That's coming up on the other side. It's Best of the Game. And we continue on this Wednesday after this short break here on 95.7 The Game.
It's the 6 o'clock shop this week at Safeway. Get amazing digital deals. USDA choice boneless beef chuck roast $4.97 per pound, and Signature Farms 80% lean ground beef $2.47 per pound. Visit Safeway.com for more details. Sincerely, Safeway.
The economy is rough, and traditional four-year programs are just not cutting it. People need something new, and Merit America is that. 22 weeks of flexible training led by experts. 7 high-paying tracks, including cybersecurity and data analytics. $0 upfront for tuition with an average salary increase of $26,000 after completion. Go to meritamerica.org now, and they'll help you build a career that treats you right. That's meritamerica.org.
This is Picks Plus. More of what you want, more often. More local news in the morning and the primetime edition. The only 8 and 9 p.m. news. With Devin Peely, Elizabeth Cook, Juliette Goodrich, and Sarah Donchi. Groundbreaking original storytelling from the KPIX newsroom. Plus Bear Politics, Project Earth, and weather like you've never seen. The primetime edition. Tonight on the new Picks Plus. 44 Cable 12.
When it comes to The Feud,
if you built a love shack, what would you be sure to have in it?
You either nail it,
a bed,
a nice hot tub,
or fail it.
If you built a love shack, what would you be sure to have in it?
A big chicken. Kitchen. You're
gonna have a big chicken in there. Yeah, Big Daddy Rooster.
Family Feud.
Family Feud, weeknights at 6 on Picks Plus. 44 Cable 12.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer & Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer & Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer & Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Are you looking for a rewarding career and opportunity to serve your community? The Alameda County Sheriff's Office is now hiring for both sworn and non-sworn positions. Alameda County Sheriff's Office has excellent opportunities for career advancement, competitive benefits, and for all new deputy sheriffs, hiring bonuses between $10,000 and $15,000. Don't wait to start making a difference in your community. Apply today at joinacso.com. That's JOINACSO.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Posters, flyers, signs, and menus for less? Think Staples. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. Now at Staples, save $50 on your print purchase of $150 or more. Same-day service available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. And all backed by Staples' Print Perfect guarantee. So it's done right or it's printed again free. Staples, your local print and marketing expert. And 61, visit staples.com/print for details.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC part solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Now, back to the best of the game on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Best of the Game continues here on this Wednesday on 95.7 The Game. We just heard from Niners wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, their rookie first-round pick from last week's NFL draft. Let's transition back to the hardwood, though, and the off-season basketball talk, which has dominated 95.7 The Game here the last couple of days because some big-name stars are already out of the postseason, Steph Curry included, but also LeBron James and Kevin Durant. And based on a number of conversations that we've all heard either here on 95.7 The Game or on the national talk shows or elsewhere, it does seem like if there was a major star, at least of the LeBron and Kevin Durant duo, that might be more willing to or more able to come to the Golden State Warriors, Kevin Durant seems a little bit more likely. Okay, so financially, is it possible? How could the Warriors figure this all out and make it work? Willard and Nibs had on NBA salary cap expert Eric Pincus, senior NBA writer, national NBA writer for Bleacher Report as well. to have him on and to explain how it might all work, because it is financially possible. And as Eric Pincus would explain, and you'll hear it here in a minute, it's actually possible for the Warriors to both trade for and acquire Kevin Durant and re-sign Klay Thompson. How in the hell does that work? How is that possible? Eric Pincus, NBA salary cap expert, joined Willard and Dibbs to explain it all, and that's how we wrap up Best of the Game on this Wednesday, right here on 95.7 The Game.
The NBA offseason, the rules, the apron, the cap, the first apron, the second apron, the sign and trade, it's so complex that it gets very hard sometimes for us to have reasonable conversations. Because we're throwing out ideas and we're like, I don't even know if that's allowed.
Right.
So every so often, pretty often, we got to go to our people who actually know what the hell's going on and can figure this out.
Thank God for Pincus.
And this is one of those people, man. This is our guy, Eric Pincus, Bleacher Report. And he wrote all about the problems for the Phoenix Suns. Could the Warriors take advantage of that? Could they be a good match? Good afternoon, Eric. How you been, buddy?
I've been doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Now, I've already promised my very first question, and it's a bit of a one-off, but we ask it every year, and for some reason, I always forget to ask the people who know. In the NBA, when salaries largely have to match to make trades, what is the value of a first-round draft pick in terms of that salary match?
Oh, in the actual salary match, zero. You don't include the dollars for a draft pick or a drafted player. It's not until they're signed to a contract that you actually include them at what they're making.
Okay, so in other words, if salaries for traded players were off by $20 million, you cannot make up that gap by throwing in picks.
No, not at all. Now, you can sign a player, you have to wait 30 days, then it's their salary.
All right.
But yeah.
Thank you for getting that out of the way. Now to the real issue at hand. The Phoenix Suns situation, how likely do you think it is that the option that they will choose is to trade Kevin Durant?
Well, I think that starts with Kevin saying, I don't want to be here. He's a headliner, right? So he's a star player, Hall of Famer eventually. So I think it would take that. Now, they face some really difficult issues, self-inflicted. They went after Beal, added on a giant salary, obviously have Booker, they have Nurkic, and they basically have 5 players, Grayson Allen. Everybody else, Royce O'Neal they can keep, but it's going to cost a lot of money, not just in his salary, but in the tax they're going to have to pay to keep him. And then everybody else they add is just minimum dudes. And, there are quality minimum players out there, but usually get what you pay for. It's hard to get guys who can really help you all year round and in the playoffs at the minimum. So they could face a situation where they say, hey, let's go for depth. We probably can't trade Beal based on his contract. There's no trade clause, injury history. Maybe we don't want to trade Booker based on his age. Younger guy still, under 30. KD, a little bit older. KD maybe decides to push out. That's how I would see it going. But do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I don't have any intel to say that that's in progress. But is it on that, could happen list? Of course.
Especially when you look and you detailed it so great in your article, all of the punishments and penalties Phoenix is facing. And I guess similarly, Golden State is by a team that is in that second apron. How motivated will Phoenix be to try to shed some of the salary and get underneath the second apron, which is estimated to be about $190 million?
Well, I don't even know if they realistically can, but if depth is the answer, then the only answer to getting depth is getting rid of one of their main guys. Like if you trade Nurkic, fine, but you don't have enough size as it is. Grayson Allen, they just extended. He's not the problem, and they can't trade him till October. So if most of these moves happen around July, then he's not on that list. The list of things they can do shrinks really quickly. There's just not much they can do outside of just keep the same group together, add minimum guys, keep Royce O'Neal, pay a ton of money, pay some penalties, deal with that second apron, or maybe get out of one of these top 3 guys, of which we're talking about KD.
Eric Pincus, Bleacher Report, with us, Willard and Dibbs, 95.7 The Game. Eric, I'm going to bring everybody into our text conversation from last night, and let's say KD does become available as you suggested. He would have to ask for it. Let's say that happens. What would the Warriors have to offer? And I sort of brought up Wiggins, obviously, to start. You mentioned that Chris Paul would have to be in on that deal as well. And then you said, I don't know what's in it for Phoenix. And I said, what about picks? So you tell me if a Paul, Wiggins, and picks, let's say 2 picks for Kevin Durant, you tell me, are we at least having a viable conversation?
Well, it's complicated. I mean, I would say this, like whether Paul was in it or they just cut Paul, they would have to get out of Paul. But for the Warriors,
right,
to get KD to make it work legally, they have to commit for the season as an under the first apron team, right? So we were talking about the second apron, which is this upper bound, right? Well, now we're talking about this other line projects to be about $188 million. The second apron's about $199 million. So that's where the Warriors have been. That's where the Suns are above that second one, but it's that first one. The Warriors would have to commit for the entire year next season to be below 188 roughly. And so that limits what you can do. So you start by getting out of Wiggins. You probably cut Chris Paul, and then they have guys like Looney. They have Gary Payton II. Then you start looking at, well, like, are they moving maybe a Kuminga, a Moses Moody? I mean, I certainly, if you're the Suns and you can get a Kuminga and get out of money and get some picks, it's at least a conversation. I don't know that it happens, but at least you could talk about it. As far as the Warriors and their picks, there's something called the Stepien rule where you can't trade. You have to have certain picks. You can't just trade all your picks, right? So they can pick in this draft. Now, right now, they have, let's see, the Warriors, man, they're after this draft, basically, assuming that they give their pick, they don't win the lottery. They're not going to win the lottery. So but if they don't win the lottery, it goes to Memphis. Now their picks open up a little bit. Now they could trade 25, they could trade 26, 27, 20, 29, but they have to have one every other year. So it's a couple of picks. It's not like a crazy number, but it's something. And so, yeah, the picks exist. If you're Golden State, if you're including a Kuminga, a Moody, along with Wiggins, and it's a commitment, on the Suns, Wiggins isn't cheap, but he's certainly cheaper than KD, and maybe you're adding depth. I don't know that they care about picks, but at least maybe they could trade those picks or get another team involved who wants those picks and get more help, because the Suns just need bodies, good players, in volume.
And this would mean letting Clay walk, for sure, right?
Well, not necessarily. It's doable, but his salary might be $15 million or something like that. It depends on the exact. I ran it with the premise that they keep Clay. They go back to what was. You know what I mean? They go back to the KD, Clay, Draymond, Steph, and keep Pajemski probably and whoever else they can keep. But yeah, Clay may not be happy about it, and another team may offer him more. But I mean, again, he's older. He's making a lot. He wants a lot of money, but I don't know who's willing, because there's just not a lot of teams that have money. And most of the teams that have money. The only one that's like a real playoff team is Philadelphia. Everybody else is like, Charlotte. They're like rebuilding, or the Jazz. I don't see what you could argue Orlando. Orlando's got cap room, and they're a playoff team. So maybe Orlando, maybe Dallas somehow finds a way, but I don't even see how that works. So I think it's theoretically possible to go back to what was with, but does KD want that? That's a different story. I don't know.
What would the timing be on this? Because the Chris Paul decision's not until the end of June, and the free agency's July 1. And don't the Warriors have to get below that second apron before they'll have the flexibility to even make this sort of a move?
Sure, absolutely. And that's all. Technically, it flips on July 1st, but you're in a moratorium until July 6th. So all of the decisions, like the Chris Paul decision, let's say they needed to opt him in, or it's not even an option. If they need to guarantee some of his money, they can. And I mean, look, if Chris is probably just going to get cut before July, that opens up a lot of that money. If they do negotiate a deal, they could guarantee half, they could guarantee $5 million, they could guarantee the whole thing. But a team taking him would have to account for his full contract. So it's a little complicated, but they have the flexibility. They have the power to do it. I still see that, Lacob, one of the owners, said that, getting under the tax is plan A or plan 1 or plan A, B, whatever it is.
Right.
It's something that I've modeled and I wrote about it, what it might look like. And they can certainly keep Clay and get under the tax and even keep Wiggins or maybe make a trade. But I do think getting below the tax is a priority. But if you can add KD back, you could certainly argue they go in a different direction and say, all right, maybe this is our last chance. Let's just go 2 more years, however long we have till Steph is done, and see if we can get another.
Super interesting stuff. Eric Pincus, Bleacher Report, with us here on Willard and Dibs. Eric, can I go back to a comment you made in there when I asked you about Clay? Because I think our listeners' eyebrows probably went up when you said, yeah, they could keep Clay, but he'd have to probably take 15. He might not be happy about it. That number feels incredibly low. What do you think his market is this offseason?
Well, there's 2 different questions there. Like, what's his market, and what are the Warriors willing to pay him in relation to the market? Because sometimes the market's low, but there's a reason a team will pay a player above market, right? Like, they may want to pay him 20 or 22 or something like that. I don't know the exact figure, but I came up with a path. If they traded Wiggins, or even if they didn't, they might be able to get out of Gary Payton. There are ways to get him up to about 20-ish. But if you look at the market, like, the mid-level exception is what everybody has, most teams have, not the high payroll teams, but most teams have about $13 million to spend. That's sort of the line, right? Now you have about 6-ish, 7 teams or so that are below the cap that have real money. That might be Orlando, it might be Toronto, certainly Detroit, and some of the other teams we mentioned Charlotte, Utah. But I mean, Detroit's a mess. Like, should they be spending all their money on Klay Thompson?
Right.
Like, the Spurs might have a little money, right? But should they go spend it on Klay to be a shooter around Wembanyama when they've got, like, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and desperately need help at point guard? So, it just real quickly whittles down. Like, I could argue Orlando could use some shooting. Wouldn't hurt to get a shooter. Is Klay the right age and fit for them right now? It may be on a short deal. I could squeeze my mind into it. Maybe the Sixers strike out with Paul George, decide they don't want Buddy Hield back, think they want a shooter that has more experience in the playoffs. Maybe it's Klay. Maybe they go for Klay for 20 and somebody else for 20, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a pathway where he might get paid. But I mean, the reality is he's had some serious injuries, and he's probably worth more to the Warriors than he is probably to anyone else. The idea of Klay, I mean, hell, everyone loves Klay, but the reality of, like, 6, 7 teams that have very limited time to use that money, and they're going to, rebuilding teams just have no interest in why Klay Thompson. So, and that's without even looking at, well, who else is out there? There are other guys out there that might get paid. So is Klay the number one guy who's going to get that money, or is it going to go to someone else? So that's the question.
Fantastic breakdown from Eric Pincus
really
there,
good.
because the teams that can't afford him can't really use him like the Warriors could, so therefore his price goes down. What about the market for Andrew Wiggins? We've debated it here. We see him up close, and we see him coming and going and playing and not playing. What is the league-wide view of where Andrew is as a player?
Well, I think they looked at, I know that other teams told me that he was at least shopped around at the deadline. They at least tried to gauge his value. Obviously, nothing happened. And I do think if you look at his numbers, 2 years ago, All-Star, the next year missed a lot of time, still put up great numbers, still shot just as well from 3. This year, he went from about a 17 or so point a game guy to about 13. 3-point shooting dropped. I could easily see someone saying, the Warriors were just not as good. It was situation. You put him, again, like Philadelphia. You're like, we got Joel Embiid, we got Tyrese Maxey. We want to replace Tobias Harris. And we have a ton of money. And we're going to go after Paul George, but say Paul George extends with the Clippers. Now, who do they go after? They go after Klay, or maybe you say to the Warriors, hey, we'll take Wiggins off your hands. We're not going to give you much. We'll just take him. And maybe the Warriors look at that and say, hey, that's a pathway to us getting our books in order. Maybe we get some, I came up with a theoretical where they get like Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams III, which is, he's hurt this year, but man, I mean, if that kid's healthy, he's like a younger version of Looney, would totally help that team as far as a defensive big. And Brogdon's like maybe not an all-star, but Brogdon's like a 40-ish, 38-ish, whatever percent 3-point shooter, plays either guard position, bigger guard, can defend, has playoff experience. It's at least an idea. And then that allows you to pay Clay to stay, so these are the sort of things that like, there's no answer because like teams don't know what's going to happen yet, right? They haven't had those conversations, but it's time now for teams and agents and everybody involved to start planning this stuff out. And really by the draft, most of this stuff's figured out. By the time we get to July, right, July 1st, most of it's done. So we could say, oh, this is down the road. We shouldn't be talking about this yet. It's like, no, we're talking about within 6 weeks, most of this is going to be decided. By 8 weeks, it's going to be done.
Man, I'm gigging on this right now. Eric Pincus is with us here on 95.7 The Game. Okay, Eric, let's go there because you just kind of threw out another idea, and I think we'd all love to hear more of that. Like there's been all this KD conversation. You just threw out Brogdon and Williams. Sure, we don't know how it's going to go, but what are some other possible scenarios that would allow the Warriors to make significant acquisitions? Who could they be?
Mm-hmm. Well, that last proposition also got them under the tax. So you're doing that, you're keeping Clay, and you're taking care of their finances to try to help them get out of the money. Now, fans don't usually care about that, all right? It's not like their money. But at the same time, like the Warriors their payroll's just too high. So it would be nice to get that kind of flexibility. But I think their big decisions are like, is Kuminga the guy that they're going to pay? Because his decision is this summer. They need to either extend him or not, and that decision comes before the start of next season. So we're talking about, mid-October, mid to late October. So about 5 months from now. But that decision needs to be made, at least in theory. They could agree to a deal in July. So knowing that number would help what direction they're going. Similarly with Moody. So you have to decide who are you keeping. And if you're keeping, obviously Steph and Dre, then it's, well, who are you surrounding them with? Are they keeping, Kuminga, Jackson Davis? Who's sticking around? And then I don't see a world where they're paying Chris Paul $30 million. Now, you can guarantee a part of it. Like I said, you can include them in a trade. They have the ability that if they're going to stay in this upper money area, then we start talking like we did about the Suns, where they are facing restrictions. But if you got Chris Paul and if you're willing to trade him to someone, you could take up to $30 million back. So but you have to have somebody who's willing to pay Chris Paul $30 million or a portion of it. So there's flexibility. We'd have to go through and look at every team and who's expendable, but there are restrictions. They can't take more than they're sending out. You still have those same picks we talked about for KD. They're going to be available to add. So I'd have to go through the list of who's really available. Obviously, guys like, people think Trey is going to be available. I don't think that's the right guy for the Warriors. Donovan Mitchell, some people say, that's kind of crazy, but sure. I'd have to see how that works. I don't know if that works because of how much money he's making. That's the trick, because they can't. It's like KD. If you're adding a guy and they're making more than someone you're sending out, now you got to be under that first apron. So if I look over at Cleveland, Donovan's making 35.4 next year. So there's no way to trade for him because you can't take Chris Paul at 30 and say like, oh, we'll add Moody, and that's 35.8, right? So that's we're setting out almost 36, bringing back 35. They can do that. They can do that under the first apron, but not the second. So there are different lines. Woo. The rules are complex. Yeah, and it's what's interesting is that the new rule. We have a new CBA last year, but they gave teams about a year to sort of adjust to the new rules, and they don't really kick in hard until July. And so it's just going to be interesting to sort of experience free agency and trade season under these new rules and see what teams do a really good job and which teams do a really bad job, because that's going to happen. It's just inevitable. Some teams are going to kill it, and some teams are going to be looking at them and going, what the hell did you just do? And, that's just the nature of things. So excited to find out. Warriors could go a lot of directions.
Yeah.
Seriously. They could say, let's just sell tickets and not compete, or they could go invest, try to get someone for money, pay money out like they've been doing out the wazoo. And if that's the plan, fans will be happier because they want that. But, spending money isn't always the way to success anyway. Maybe it is time to start to invest more in the Kumingas and the younger guys. And let Steph just be the leader of that group.
Yeah, before you go, is Markin in a conversation? What's going on with him?
The buzz on Markkanen is that the Jazz are going to use their cap room that they have to renegotiate and extend him.
Okay.
Now, nothing is done. It's not a lock, but the buzz is that they're going to lock him up, similar to what the Pacers did with Sabonis this last year. Or not the Pacers, the Kings did with Sabonis, where you give a guy a raise and extend them. It's a way of manipulating the system with cap room. So instead of improving via adding talent, you make sure you got your main guy locked in. That's what I anticipate. So now if he says, I'm not doing it and I want to leave, now we have a different conversation. But I don't think Utah considers moving him unless he drives that.
That's Eric Pincus on earlier today with Willard and Dibs. Of course, Eric Pincus, national NBA writer for Bleacher Report. And we like to describe him as NBA salary cap expert, knows the ins and outs of the cap and the new updated cap with the new CBA, which is making it so much more difficult for the Warriors to do their business. He's got all the details. He knows how it can work out. And he even added there during that interview, again, with Willard and Dibs that you just heard, it is possible, financially possible, for the Warriors to acquire Kevin Durant and retain Klay Thompson. Now, Klay would have to agree to the number Eric threw out, like $15 million per year salary, which seems like a little less, maybe more like a lot less than Klay was hoping or is hoping to sign for, but it is financially possible for that all to happen. Now, on the flip side, you got to ask yourself, if you are a Warrior fan, is that the best path to being legitimately competitive in the Western Conference once again? Because they have not been the last couple of seasons now after they won the championship in 2022. All of that will play out this offseason, and you best believe we will be there with you every step of the way here on 95.7 The Game. All right, that'll do it for us today. We're back tomorrow. Thursday, tomorrow on 95.7 The Game. Should be a ton of fun. We've got an early Giants game, and we'll be able to react to it all after the game here on 95.7 The Game. All right, that'll do it for us today. This is Mark Randy signing off. Thanks so much for tuning in, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.
I had an amazing morning. Zero traffic, free parking. I grabbed a